So Mark Wicker, Tutor Doctor Great Hawksley. I've been going for about 2 years, and Tutor Doctor is a company that's in about 16 different countries worldwide, very big in the US and Canada, and about 70 of us are working in the UK. So we all own and look after a certain territory and area. So although mine's called Great Hawksley, because there is another colleague that works and has already called their territory Colchester, but they work the bottom half of Colchester town down into Mersey Island, whereas I work the top half of the town and out into the countryside and up to Ipswich, as I mentioned earlier. So what we do really is, I am basically a tutoring agency, and I go out there and through PPC, through community marketing, through all kinds of different ways, I try and pick up families and schools who are looking for focused one-to-one tutoring. And that could be from people who want to get through the 11 plus, so they're looking to achieve more. It could be from people that maybe are struggling through whichever curriculum they're going through, whichever level, GCSE, primary school, and they just need to either catch up or fill in some knowledge gaps. So basically, we provide a full service, and I'll go through that to you as we go through this presentation. But generally, you know, the knowledge, the discipline will equal success. So we support the student through an understanding of what they need. We match a tutor relevant to the academic requirements, but also to their personality as well. So we try to understand the family, what they're looking for, we understand the student, and we get the right tutor that's going to take them forward. Because basically, if the student has a good working relationship with the tutor, you'll get more out of them, they'll enjoy the sessions more, the progress will be much better. But what we do is, I will generally do an assessment, a consultation with the family or the school to talk about what they want. And generally what I'll do is I'll look to make sure they're making the right choice for them. It's not a hard sell from me. It is a consultation in the sense of basically, what are you looking for? What do you need? And I will talk through then the benefits of learning centres like Kumon, like Explore Learning. I'll talk about the benefits of using some of the private tutor websites like Tutor Hunt, Superprof, etc. What they will do, how they'll work, what to look out for, what to be careful of. And then I'll go through what I can provide. So of course, you can see from the tick boxes here of what we provide, we pretty much provide a full service, but that does mean we're more of a premium service. So for instance, we will actually reach out to the teacher who's teaching that student, their school, to say, look, we're going to be working with this student. We'd like to work alongside you with the curriculum that you're working on, with whatever topics are coming up in the near future. And if you could see anything that you feel the student is particularly challenged with, then obviously we can work on that on a one-to-one basis to complement your own teaching. So we can do that, and that works really well, because then we know both the families and the students are working in line with their curriculum towards their exams, and therefore seeing a tangible sort of target and a tangible improvement. So through that assessment, I'll go through a number of things. I'll talk about, you know, which subjects they're good at, which subjects they're not very good at or feel challenged by. I'll talk about how their general sort of behaviour is with regards to, are they neat in the bedroom? Are they organised in the classroom? Do they have their backpack, you know, ready and waiting? Which all gives me an insight into their personality and their style, which helps me match the right tutor. We'll go through this care assessment, this roadmap, and I'll talk about, you know, where they've first started to notice any difficulties or challenges, where they are presently, what the recent conversations have been with their school teacher, how they behave in the classroom and how they get on with their peers, and what works for them better, you know, which teachers they like and their style. I'll talk about their homework, how they approach their homework. Do they do it as soon as they get home? Do they leave it till last minute? Do they plan a project in the sense of, you know, maybe a GCSE student should be a little bit more organised in the sense of they're given a big essay that might take maybe 4 or 5 hours to write. Do they plan for that? Do they say, right, I'll do an hour today, an hour on Wednesday, etc.? I'll go through their understanding of certain subjects. So if they tell me that chemistry is a challenge for them, then we'll go through which topics they've felt challenged by, and we'll start to list those out. And I'll recommend to them about how to manage that as well. So whether they take my service or not, I'll give them some key tips on how to manage, which topics they can't get on with and how to keep ahead of that. I'll talk about their recent exam marks and how they approached their exam, and if they felt they did their best, are they good in an exam environment, etc. All of that allows me to assess them, and then that allows me to talk to the tutors I think would be a really good match, both academically, but also on the personality side, which I've got a really good flavour of. And that way I can match the tutor and provide the support in the background. So here I've got a couple of things around the learning style assessment. So I will put them through a learning style assessment if they're old enough to kind of fill it in to get enough information out. And that will give me an idea if they're a visual-based learner, if they're an auditory-based learner, or whether they're more kinesthetic. And that all helps us to make sure that we can make a really good flying start to their style, to engage with them quite quickly on how it works best. And also to make sure I match the right tutor that is more prone to that kind of style of learning. But whether they go with me or not, I'll leave all this information with them, and it gives them tips going forward so they know they're going to get something out of a consultation with me, whether they choose to use my services or not. At the end of the consultation, I'll give them a recommendation. I'll say, look, this is what we'll do to maybe boost their confidence, to improve their exam preparation and how they approach exams, or specific topics and subjects. So I'll suggest the length of time, which will be a number of hours and maybe how many times per week, obviously taking into consideration what the family are looking for as well. I'll leave that with them, or quite often they'll choose to go with me on the day, and I'll go away and start to put that in place. So some of the benefits through working with me as to a private tutor, etc., is that we have a great system, and in this system it allows me to see everything that's going on in the background. So this current screenshot is really around what I see in the system for all the sessions that have been scheduled. So the ones at the top are in red are sessions that should have happened over the last sort of few days, etc. So I know those sessions should have gone ahead. So if that goes a couple of days and I don't see a session report confirming that's gone ahead and what's gone on, then I can quickly get on to the tutor and just see what's happened there. You know, sometimes it's been rearranged and they just haven't amended their calendar entry. Other times, you know, it might be something else. But it means that I'm always on top of what's going on and things don't get sort of, excuse me, don't get out of order. The ones in black, they're the upcoming ones, so I know what's coming up, I know what's happening, I can see, you know, how many hours and who's doing what. So once the session's been delivered, the tutor will submit a session report, and this is how I view it. So I can see all the reports as they come in, I can see what time they were, which student, which tutor, and it allows me to go into that report to fully read what's been going on. If I'm happy with that session report, then I just approve it, and that will then send an email of this session report out to the family or the school, so they've got a very clear audit trail and transparency into what's been going on. If I see anything in there that concerns me or that I would like to discuss, then obviously it gives me a chance to get onto the phone to the tutor before the families receive the session report. So this is a typical example of a session report. As you can see, just at the top there, it will give the date, the times, etc. it happened, who the tutor was, and then it will give you the full notes of what happened in that session. I won't go into the details there, but I'm sure you can see and know what we're talking about. And then, of course, at the bottom of the session report, it will show the number of hours that we've got credited to the system. It will show how many tutoring hours have been completed and how many tutoring hours are available. So both the family and myself and the tutor can keep track of where we stand with the current enrolment or the current sort of targets that we've set in place. So really, just a quick overview again of the benefits of working with Tutor Doctor. On the student side, they get a one-to-one focused in-home or online tuition. So basically, we can really work on what they need to progress on, improve, or aim towards. We follow the school curriculum, the national curriculum, or it can be tailored to whatever the school is doing, if it's a private school, etc. We collaborate with the teacher, so we know we're always working in line to reach the goal, which is ultimately passing their exams. We can personalise their goal setting, and that can be flexible, that can be changed as we go ahead. We can switch tutors for different subjects if we need. It accommodates your schedule, so basically we can put the tutor in place, whatever time you're available works best for you. Some students work better in the morning, so therefore like a weekend might be better for them. Other students, they want to come straight home from school, have a quick break, get stuck in. So we can prepare you for the exams as well. So we can do exam practice, we can look at how you approach that exam and really get you ready for that as well. On the family side of things, and of course, no travelling to centres, etc. It fits in with your schedule. If by any chance the tutors that are matched are not working as well as you would like, then I can switch that out for you rather than you going back out into the market and hunting for a new tutor. The families get the session reports and they get statements as well. They've got the comfort of knowing that all the tutors have been DBS checked, been interviewed by me and employed on the basis that they are, a very good tutor. And of course, on the back of that, having the customer service from me means that they don't have to have awkward conversations with the tutor. They can raise things with me and I can basically answer those, resolve those, talk those through. It just takes away that awkwardness from maybe talking to the tutor directly on occasion. But of course, the tutor is there. They can speak to him after the sessions as much as they like. On the tutors, then if they come and work for me, they can basically focus on the tutoring. They don't have to worry about anything else as it's all sort of sorted out for them. They also know that I've checked out the environment, the families, because generally I only take business from families that, one, have supportive parents, the student wants to learn, and then of course I put a tutor in place that wants to teach. Therefore, that's a winning triangle. The tutors, it's flexible for them to accept or reject. They don't get given a student, they get asked if they would like to have that student. So I've already gone through the assessment. I can see basically that I think it's a good fit. But if it's not the right time or not the right location for them, or they're just a little bit too busy, then they have that decision and that ownership as well. So it can also work to the tutor's schedule as well, fitting with their lifestyles. And the same thing that I mentioned before on the customer service side of things, if the tutor says to me, look, Mark, I'm setting homework every week for this student, we're going to have a slower progress because they're never doing the homework, then I can pick up that conversation with the family and have a chat. It just keeps a good relationship between the tutor and the family and the student, and it gives me that sort of third-party approach. And of course, the tutors all have guaranteed payment. If they send me a session report, that's my trigger to pay them. There's no chasing families or schools to get their payment. It's all done and dusted. So that's pretty much my presentation. A little bit short of 10 minutes, but I didn't want to go over. Great, I'm not sure if we're doing questions later as usual. Otherwise, I thank you all for your time and attention.
So I'll start off, Mark, with a question from me. You're handling a lot of data about your customers. I mean, are you under sort of like GDPR regulations with data and all that sort of thing? And how does that impact you?
Luckily, part of the tutoring franchise, the headquarters is based in Toronto, and they handle all that for me. So their system is partly what I pay my franchisees fees monthly, and that's all covered in that system.
Based in Toronto, do we have any issues about where the data is stored for your clients?
No, again, I looked into that 2 years ago and it was all fine. I can't remember the details now. I've got it all saved down somewhere, but no, it's all fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your background before, Mark? You mentioned you've been doing this for 2 years, yeah?
True.
Yeah.
I spent, God knows, about 30 years working for the banks up in the city.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, but basically during that period of time, I've always been a qualified sports coach. So I've always enjoyed coaching and sort of giving. And then for a 4-year period in one of those banks, they asked me to kind of work with a training and development team in sort of Edinburgh and London and Bournemouth to help them kind of build this whole new training program for a new business. And I found I enjoyed it so much and kind of had a knack for it that they basically ended up giving me those 3 teams in those areas to kind of manage it. So I ended up managing the training and development team for 4 years.
Right.
And just really in the last sort of, don't know, few years, I've really not enjoyed the atmosphere in the city, the people, lots of redundancies, jobs moved to India, cheaper areas, etc., more work than you can cope with. And my integrity had come into question a few times from the bank I was working for. And I just saw this opportunity with tutoring as a bit of a snowball. My daughter was 13, or she was 11 at the time. So I'd been talking to schools, talking to parents, and I saw this opportunity and went for it.
Yeah, good. No regrets?
No, there have been some days in the last 6 months when I thought it'd be nice to be sitting here working from home for the bank again without any stress. But no real ones.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So
what's the first? Sorry, good, Graham.
I was just going to say, what was it that you kind of thought of doing first? Was it that you wanted to be part of a franchise, or that you wanted to be the tutors first?
I wanted to work honestly with something I really cared about and enjoyed. So a little bit more giving back, because it is a bit, well, should we say, self-indulgent in the banking world. You kind of raise your profile to get promotion, to get more money. You're not really, you're taking all the time. So yes, I was looking for something that I could give, something that I would enjoy doing, something local as well.
Okay.
What's the first point of contact with you, Mark? Did the schools approach you, or the parents approach you, or?
Yeah, generally I get approached. So my website's up and running. Ian started doing my PPC, so he's starting to get more people directed to it. Yeah, thanks, Ian. And also, as mentioned a little bit earlier, I'm now on the approved schools list for Essex County Council. So any school in Essex that needs tutoring or needs support, they look down this approved list, they'll see me on there, they'll approach me. But I also do some community marketing, so I might approach a school directly. I might set up an event. I haven't done many, but where maybe, the Essex Food and Drink Show, I might try and get a stall set up and, kind of be there giving out stuff as well.
Right, and how many different tutors do you have under your sort of remit?
I've probably got about 40 tutors, and that ranges from ex-headmasters to postgraduate students. So generally what I do is, for part of my assessment, I don't mind putting a really good postgrad student, someone in their mid-20s that really kind of was flying in their grades and their university, etc., with someone that's on a GCSE, and maybe, that kind of like big sister, big brother kind of relationship can really work sometimes. But for the younger age, the primary school, I only ever put a qualified primary school teacher in place. So I'm an advanced level safeguarding children sort of a pass as such. So, I've got all those qualifications behind me to deal with any issues as such. But for that age group, I would want a qualified primary school teacher in place.
Yeah. Good.
Have you had any requests for an unusual topic or subject to tutor?
Yeah. I think I'm going to tell this little story because Ian will probably laugh at this one. So I had an inquiry on Wednesday, I think, through the website, just dropped their details on there, and it was from Tel Aviv in Israel. So I thought, okay, this is a little bit unusual. So I'll email them. I'm not going to call them. And I just emailed and said, look, are you aware that I'm a UK locally based tutoring company, etc.? Are you sure you want to kind of, make an inquiry of me? And she said, no, I definitely do. Can we have a Zoom call? So we had a Zoom call yesterday, and yes, they lived in Leicester for many, many years, just recently moved back to Tel Aviv. Their daughter, who's in year 1, can't speak Hebrew yet. Their school has been locked down, and she wants to continue tuition. So she found me as a UK-based, looking So I'm just going to put in a UK-based primary school tutor to continue that online tuition for in Tel Aviv.
Wow.
And what's the pricing model for it, Mark? Is it like work on some kind of monthly retainer and people get set amount of hours they can draw from? Is it all pre-booked so you get 4 hours a month and how does it work?
I'm very, very flexible. So basically I'll make it work for whichever family or the school, whatever. So generally I will credit a block of hours to the account and I'll look at the start date. Now, if I can start you at the middle of the month and I do a 3-month trial period, so that'd be like 12 weeks. And they'll go across 4 months, 4 different months if you start it in the middle of the month. So I can then say to them, this is the price for that tutoring, but we can divide that over 4 months to bring the price down rather than 3 months. And then you might have to have a 2-week break if the family is kind of, a little bit more budget conscious. Otherwise, generally I charge a certain amount for primary school, a certain amount for GCSE level, and a certain amount for A level. Just it's a little bit, increase.
Yeah.
Okay. They can pay up front for a whole block of lessons if they want to.
I've got your search from Israel here, Mark.
Yeah.
Did you say they phoned you?
I think they put the details on the website for me to contact them.
Right, okay, because they triggered one of the ads, so
okay,
it all works, albeit the wrong country. Yeah. But
would have come on board, Ian. So that's a new business sale. Thank you.
Excellent.
And with the sort of education situation as it is at the moment, COVID and everything, is that causing you issues or opportunities?
Yes, of course. No, issues, definitely. My model was very much around in-home, one-to-one focused, being right there with the student, developing a relationship, supportive, guiding, and really getting them to where they need to be. So yes, I had to move a lot of students online, and that works okay for the older group. And I have a fantastic platform called Bramble, which is very, very much built around tutoring, very interactive. You can write on it, type on it, present on it. You can still see each other, but it's very private as well. So yes, it's been a struggle, but I do have COVID-19 guidance in place for one-to-one tuition, as we are allowed to go into small groups, obviously. And so all my tutors obviously have to declare that they're not in high risk. They don't have people in their household at high risk. And if that's the case, then we can agree with the family the same situation, and they have to follow the procedures, obviously of the hand sanitizing as they arrive, no sharing of, like pens, calculators, that type of thing. Obviously frequent hand washing, masks during the presence. And although we're moving into colder weather, but originally it was a case of, somewhere a bit open, maybe if the French doors are open, that kind of thing, or, So it's in place under fairly strict ruling.